Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the January 27th, 2026 special meeting of the Glendale City Council. May we have roll call?
Council members Asatarian, Brotman,
Here.
Garabedian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
and Mayor Najarian.
Here. May we have your report?
Posting of agenda. The agenda for Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, special public meeting of the City Council was posted on January 23rd, 2026 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And what is the first item?
Community Service and Parks, approval of revised draft request for proposals for tennis operation at Glorieta Park. Motion approving draft for the tennis operation at Glorieta Park revised pursuant to feedback received from the City Council on June 10th, 2025 and September 30th, 2025, subject to revisions not affecting the substantive basis for award and evaluation criteria or process for selecting an operator.
Thank you, Mr. Galanian.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Najarian, members of the City Council. As it was read into the record at the September 30th council meeting, we did receive feedback from council to review the evaluation criteria in the RFP, and after council's review and approval of the revised RFP to reissue it. That's the reason why we are here this afternoon. Staff from Community Service and Parks and the City Attorney's Office jointly have made the revisions to the RFP that Mr. Bulanikian will present to you for discussion and direction.
Mr. Galanian.
Good afternoon, Mayor Najarian, members of the council. Real quick, I want to go over a few slides and then we can go into discussion in terms of the revising the RFP. So background, December 17th of 2024, we issued an RFP for both Glorieta and Fremont Park. For Glorieta, staff received 8 proposals from 7 proposers. And out of the 8 proposals, 3 met the minimum qualifications. We had 2 panels as part of the interview process that reviewed the proposals. One panel was external. There were 3 candidates or 3 panelists that had experience in running tennis operations. And we had our external panel that was consists of city staff. They reviewed the proposals and conducted interviews. And on June 10th, we brought a report to council to award contract. And on September 30th, council rescinded the June 10th approval, directed staff to revise the RFP based on council's feedback and reissue the RFP once council approves the revised RFP, which is why we are here today. The feedback that we received from council last meeting was to prioritize some items on the evaluation criteria. So prioritize the proposer's longevity, teaching ability, and responsibility. Look at open playtime at no cost without reservations. What proposal would have the lowest public rental rates and the highest revenue for the city? Another feedback we received was to omit advertising and marketing criteria, since Glorieta is a highly used facility that grading on advertising and marketing shouldn't be that important. And then address the wide point spread made possible by evaluating each criterion on a 15 to 20 point scale. The minimum requirements for the previous RFP that was issued in 2025 had 3 years minimum experience operating a public tennis operation with a minimum of 2 courts, and must include offering of public open times, free open to the public, tennis court instruction or tennis instruction programs, and coordinating tournaments. The revised draft RFP includes 3 years minimum experience as the principal party responsible for operating public agency's tennis facility with a minimum of 2 courts. The reason why we added principal party responsible is because we received a number of proposals that were subleasing their tennis courts and their tennis programs from other concessionaires throughout the LA County area. And must include offering public open times on courts, tennis instruction, and coordinating other tennis programs. The evaluation criteria for the previous RFP had a total of 85 points. The experience and qualifications were 20 points, proposed payment to the city 20 points, range of services 15, daily operation 15, and advertising marketing 15. The revised draft RFP, it's 100% weighted score. We've increased the experience and qualifications to 50%. Proposed payment to the city 10%, range of services 35%, daily operational plan 5%, and we won't be including advertising and marketing. So the evaluation criteria, we can drill down a little more. The first 6 criteria: duration of experience, operating a concession for a public agency, previous development and implementation of tennis programs, professional training and certifications, business management experience, and business awards. That totals 50%. We want individuals to have business management experience since they will be running their business out of our facility. The next 5 is part of the range of services: open play to the public, free of charge without reservations, court rentals by the public at an affordable hourly rate, tennis instruction for group and private lessons, let it be youth, adults, and seniors, tennis camps, tournaments, and other special events and programming related to tennis, integrated programs and services to accommodate persons with disabilities. That's a total of 35%. Proposed payment to the city 10%, and daily operational plan 5%. The proposed scoring method, we want to have the scoring method with a 0 to 3 point scale, 0 being unqualified, 1 being minimally qualified, 2 well qualified, and 3 best qualified. And we want to ensure that the categories receiving a higher weight are the council priorities and the feedback that we've received from council the last few meetings, which is duration of experience operating a concession for public agency with a preference for experience operating a tennis or other recreational facility, duration of experience directly providing tennis instruction, open play provided to the public free of charge or low cost, and proposed payment to the city. And that's it in a nutshell. Council action is to review and approve a revised draft RFP for tennis operations at Glorieta. One thing I would like to add, that the RFPs the proposals that we receive will be reviewed and graded by an external panel only.
Okay.
Which panel?
External panel. We haven't picked the panel yet, but it will be a panel that has experience running tennis concessionaires. It won't be the panel that we used back in last year. It'll be a new panel, and we'll be working with different departments in LA County.
Thank you. I understand we have a speaker request. If we could have the speaker.
Stephen Meek, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, and thank you for letting me speak. My name is Stephen Meek. I am an avid senior tennis player, and I'm part of several different groups that play at Glorieta Park. I have a group that plays 7:30 to 9 a.m., another that 8 to 10 a.m., 12:30 to 3:30 p.m., and 5 to 7 p.m. on different days. So the courts are used by the seniors quite often. We have the Glendale Tennis Academy at 2 courts, and we have the Let's Play Tennis at several other courts within the city, and those are taking up quite a number of the courts. I just want to urge you to keep in mind that keep our courts open for the public to play tennis, and it's a part of our quality of life for the seniors to get out there and play and keep exercising. Rather than making it a revenue for the city, it's a quality of life for the residents of the city. Egan's been a good worker with the different seniors groups I've been playing with, and we appreciate the work he has done in the past. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions from colleagues?
So in terms of how this situation unfolded and why we're here, will the same rules apply when staff comes to us with a report with their recommendation, meaning council is then obligated to approve and only award the contract to the person recommended in the report?
But I'll turn to Aaron if he's got additional feedback, but so the law requires that the council decision maker follow the process in the RFP, and the RFP provides that you have a weighted system reflecting the council's priorities from the prior discussions, and absent some irregularity, the highest scoring proposer would be selected.
Okay, so
So,
in
yeah.
short, it's yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I am glad that at least some of my comments from the last time we discussed this are included, including the issue, and there was, I think, more weight attributed to advertising and promoting of a court that's already at capacity. I don't see a need for us. I think in the future, that may be something that you may want to consider, and it may be something you want to consider with city assets and properties that maybe we're not getting enough usage out of. But when a place is already at capacity, it didn't seem worthwhile.
Other comments? Mr. Brotman?
Yeah, sorry, not really questions, but comments. I'm looking at the evaluation criteria, and I understand, you made what you thought were adjustments based on, council comments. I can't remember precisely what my comments were then, but it seems to me that there's a really, really heavy weighting on just having been there, just duration, prior development. There's another one, duration of experience. There's business management experience. A lot of, it just seems to be kind of having been around the block, right? Without consideration of the quality, There are some that talk about, certifications, awards, achievements, but I guess I would like to see more being placed on the quality of the experience and the feedback that, through references and other things, the feedback on how they've performed, not just that they've performed, if you know what I mean. I looked at, it looks like about 40% is kind of what I would call being there. And maybe 10% is things that pick up, quality, awards and so forth. So that's one thing I would prefer to see an adjustment there. The other thing is on kind of the financial side of the equation. There's 25% in total that it kind of touches on questions of how much they're charging or how much free time they're giving to the public versus, how much revenue is flowing back to the city, right? And it's a trade-off between the two, obviously, but the key is the operational efficiency of the provider. I mean, if they're operating at the lowest cost, there's more either, scope to either reduce those hourly rates or flow some more revenue back to the city or some combination thereof. So it seems like there should be more weight, in my opinion, there should be more weight on kind of that financial side of their operation. And the kind of deal we're getting, and when I say we, I mean a combination of the public and the city as opposed to the operator. And apart from the weighting here, I mean, I would, as we get into the contracts, really want to see more transparency as far as what these concessionaires are earning, and are they getting a fair return and not an excess return? Because ultimately these are public courts, and we want to provide the best service to the public, and or the maximum revenue back to the city. So those are my thoughts.
Mr. Garbettian?
Yes. Couple of questions. How many tennis courts do we have in Glendale, in different parks? And how many of them do we have concessionaires like Glorieta and Fremont, and Shoal Canyon.
So currently, there are 3 concessionaires. We have Glorieta. Glorieta Park has 4 tennis courts. Fremont Park has 8. And then we have 10 at Shoal Canyon. Shoal Canyon is run by American Golf, and they are subleasing the tennis courts to Glendale Tennis Academy as well. So we have 22 courts, 22 courts that are under concession, and then we have 11 courts citywide that are free and open to the public. So we have 2 at Emerald Isle, 2 at Montrose, 2 at Oakmont, 1 at Maple Park, 1 at Glen Oaks.
So 22 in concessions, 11 it's open to public.
Yes,
And 18 out of that 22 is managed by one
concessionaire,
entity?
yes.
One concessionaire? Okay, and they are also, if I'm not mistaken, they also participated in the RFP for Glorieta?
They haven't participated in the
They
RFP from
haven't,
Gloria.
okay.
They just
That's-
submitted for Fremont.
They did?
They only submitted for Fremont, and they were awarded Fremont, and
Got
they
it.
started operating when Fremont opened.
Got it. I think one thing that we need to emphasize is, as far as experience goes, experience with the community as well, as to, let me see where I wrote that down. The feedback from people, you know, and also because of the last RFP, they basically the people who participated, they know their numbers. I mean, being lower or being higher, I don't know how that's that going to work for the upcoming one. And also you have one on page 6 of your presentation, professional trainings and certification received in tennis industry. I think we need to add that the titles and trophies that they received during their, in their lifetime, if they were a champion of a tournament, and most importantly, young children or people who take these classes, how many of them have achieved higher positions in the tennis industry? So how many of them came through one academy and went to higher places and became champions, or they're playing for higher clubs or what have you? So the experience in general, the quality of experience, I think these are very important for these items to be there. So the trainers, not only one person, the trainers, what kind of a background do they have? Are they just certified to be a tennis coach, or they were champions at one point in their life? And also, again, I'm repeating myself, people who went through their programs, have they achieved, did they have higher achievements in their life? I think that's very important to understand as well. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bilnikin, can we go to the first slide?
Yes.
Back one? Okay, yeah, that's the one. So can you tell us what happened between bullet point 4 and bullet point 5?
So on June 10th, council approved the contract to award the Glorieta concession. And I believe we received a letter from one of the proposers taking legal action. And then we came back to council on the 30th so council can rescind the June 10th approval direct staff to revise the RFP.
Do you recall what the complaint was of the party that objected to our decision on June 10th?
Since we had awarded the contract, or our recommendation, staff's recommendation was to award the contract to one of the proposers, and the award went to another vendor, another proposer.
No, that's clearly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it true that the aggrieved proposer alleged that council was using criteria that was not listed in the RFP to score and to award the contract?
That I will refer to the city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, that was the allegation.
And it was certainly something that I raised during that discussion. So as a result of that threat, we could call it a threat of litigation, council's action was to rescind the approval. And so council is coming back and including in the new RFP the criteria that was used, the criteria, I guess, that was used to award it to the awardee on June 10th. That's what's happening, right?
Yes.
That's a yes, okay. So would you say that including that criteria now in the RFP would be beneficial to the original June 10th awardee versus the aggrieved applicant?
Mr. Mayor, I don't think it's appropriate for any staff member to say whether these criteria are going to favor one party or the other. They're based on the feedback that the council gave at the June 10th meeting and the subsequent meeting on what they felt the RFP should be guided by. And I think to your point, and I think I spoke to it as well, adjusting those criteria during the process is something that creates the issue. But when you're looking at the proposal or the RFP again to start afresh, the council's within their purview to decide which criteria to move forward on.
Well, I'm not saying it's not within our purview, but the effect of creating a 50% category for experience and longevity, certainly in this situation, as we've heard the presentations, this is nothing new to us, would certainly be more advantageous to Mr. Kanlaryan than the aggrieved party, Super 8, Hard 8, whatever their name was.
And I would just say staff's not in a position to comment on that.
But it's not specific longevity to Glendale, right? It's longevity to a
Profession, correct.
Yeah, so it could be potentially, and that's one of the things I was thinking about, other cities that have concessionaires, Burbank, possibly Pasadena or wherever else. Essentially, you're looking for criteria of having worked with a municipality directly?
Yes.
Okay.
Any municipality
Any municipality
with more than 2 courts.
with more than 2 courts
Okay.
operate a concession and throughout any
The-
municipality or state.
Okay, let's go to the slide 4, where you're talking about the minimum requirements, 3 years as a principal party. Now, you just described what American Golf was doing. They were subleasing it to Glendale Tennis Academy, was that the name?
Yes.
So Glendale Tennis Academy, by this definition, is not the principal party.
No, but
Correct? If they were to apply, they could not say, hey, we've been doing Shoal Canyon for how many years, because the principal party in that is American Golf.
yes, but they are at Fremont, and they've been at Fremont since 2013 as the principal party. So they could apply for this RFP as
Glendale
well.
Tennis.
Yes,
Has been in Fremont since
2013.
2013. Hard 8 was at which park?
Hardy was rim of the valley, somewhere in San Bernardino, Lake Arrowhead in that area.
So they were not the ones at Fremont
No.
previous.
They currently operate the contract class program, I believe, at Montrose and Emerald Isle.
Okay. The next question I have is the scoring now has gotten a little bit confusing. So let's just go to the revised, to page 5, the revised draft RFP, where it says experience and qualifications is 50%, correct? Now, the scoring method is scale of 0 to 3. Can 2 entities receive 3 points on that?
Yes.
Yes.
The word best qualified seems to imply a primacy. If someone is the best, there aren't 2 people that are the best. There's 1 person that's the best. Would you say that should be termed a different way, such as very well qualified? Does everyone understand what I'm saying? When you say best, there's 1 person who's best.
Yeah.
It implies a primacy to the definition. primacy meaning one.
Mayor Najarian, members of the council, Aaron Israel, Senior Assistant City Attorney. Your point is well taken, Mayor Najarian. It is a term of art that is intended to mean exceptionally well qualified. So the three would recognize being best qualified based on the criteria, not best qualified relative to the other proposers. In other words, you would have exceptional qualifications for that particular sub-criterion or criteria. Pardon me.
Okay. If I was a scorer, and I would never be a scorer because I'm not in the industry, I might be a little confused as to that. So as long as everyone who's scoring knows that you can have two or more receiving the best qualified score, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make sure that's clear. And so with all those scores, if someone got 3 in each category, what would be the top score? Perfect score would be what? Because I'm confused with the percentage and then, I mean, is it 3 points for the 50% chunk, or is it each 15%, 10%, 10%, 5% receiving? How would that work?
I apologize for stepping away, Mayor Najarian. So if you look at the more broken down criteria thank you, Director Bolanikian. So in each one of these criterion, a proposer can rank between 0 and 3. Within the criterion, that ranking 0 to 3 is then weighted 15%, 10%, 10% of the final score, final weighted score. So to answer your question, to put a fine point on it, the highest score that a proposer can get at the end of the day is a 3.
And so a total score would be 300?
No, sir. It would be 3. It would be they're weighted proportionally. So the final score, if you received a 3 down the line, for 15% of the final score, you would have a 3. It's averaged among the 13 criteria.
Okay, so how about the next category? At 10%, if I'm the best for previous development and implementation, which is 10% weighted, and I got a 3.
Correct. You would get the full value of the 3 toward the final
It's a weighted
score.
number, so
But that 3 would be less than the first criteria, 3.
That is correct. It would be worth less toward the final score.
Okay, so if you add up the percentages, which is 100%, and multiply by 3, that would be a 300. I mean, am I making this sort of concept improperly, or?
So if 100, every criterion is scored 0 to 3, right? The total value, the total weighted value is 100%. So the maximum score you can get is 3. 100% of 3 would be 3.
that means you got 3 on every category, and it's weighted, so then at the end of the scoring, you get 3. So let's say you get a number of well-qualified candidates that are under best qualified, you're going to get a range of candidates who score somewhere between 2 and 3 overall.
That's correct.
So you'd be getting into the decimals.
That is
At
correct.
that point, it'd be a 2.9. I guess I'm looking at it rather to avoid the decimal computation and expanding the larger scope of it. Okay. And the external panel, are they going to be anyone that has done this before, that has worked in the original panel?
No.
Completely new?
Completely new. So our external panel last time was Assistant Director of Burbank, who oversees tennis concessionaire, Deputy Director of Calabasas, who oversees the tennis concessionaire, and Recreation Administrator for Pasadena. But it's going to be a totally different panel.
A new group? I
New
see.
group, yes.
And there's no community group?
No.
Some of our RFPs, we have a community group, internal group, and external group. This is only an external group at this point.
Yes.
And how long would you expect the process to take, assuming this were approved today?
We hope to come back to council by May.
By May, okay. I just want to say I feel a little uneasy about this, about the way we're rescoring. We're backtracking and we're trying to cover up, I guess, some flaws in our initial scoring. So I will not be voting for this in this manner.
What would make you,
I just feel,
score it.
yeah, I just feel a little uneasy. I mean, I think there's a lot of weight. I think it favors an incumbent, although not exclusively favoring an incumbent, but I just feel uneasy about it. I don't know if I could rewrite this on the fly. I don't think that would be doing it justice, but anyway, that's the way it goes.
so,
I do, but I also wanted to apologize for being late. But
Okay.
if you guys want to just kind of go through it, and
We've all made comments, and so,
are there any recommended changes to what staff is? Have you had a
Not-
discussion on that?
formalized.
Council members, there were suggestions or conversations that Councilmember Garpetian and Councilmember Brotman had brought up that we'd like to get some clarity and see if that's council's direction for adjustments.
okay.
Also have a question about the panel. Whenever it's my turn.
Would you like to jump in, or should we go to?
I'd like to hear the two.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Garpetian.
how many members are going to be on this panel, the external panel?
Last time we picked 3. We'll probably, if we can, we would like to have 3 panelists.
So if you have 3 people and they individually review and score, right?
Yes.
So it could be that one of them scores higher for one and the other one scores higher for another one. And then at the end, they may be, their numbers can be equal, right? Then they may get 2.8. 2 people can get 2.8 because there are 3 people scoring. It doesn't mean that they're all going to score the same way. So when you say best or very well, the scores may be very close or maybe even because 3 people are scoring. That could happen as well, right?
Yes.
And what happens at that time?
A tie? Like if there's a tie?
Yeah, if there's a tie. Because some may score 3 for one and 2.5 for the other, and vice versa. And then at the end, you have the same number.
Councilmember Garpetian, we recognize that possibility, and the revised draft RFP before you. In the event that there is a tie between 2 proposers, both proposers would be presented to the council
Okay.
as having received the tie. These would be the highest, if 2 or more, as the highest proposers. The council would receive evaluations completed by the panelists. Council would have those evaluations to reference in making a final determination.
Okay, and based on Mayor Najarian asked the question that some of these criterias that were inserted in this RFP, it's favoring one side versus the other. Can you elaborate on that one more time? I'd like to know which one it is. What did we add in this criteria that is going to favor the incumbent, for example, versus people who are applying?
Well, they couldn't answer that, actually. They said
Okay,
that
so
they-
I don't want to create paint this picture that we're doing that here tonight if they cannot answer it. I don't think that's,
That was me that did that, I guess, not staff.
And Mayor, I want to add my few comments, and then I'll allow our colleagues to chime in as well. But, in terms of this process where we are, I can understand what may cause that perception. Certainly, there's been at least one individual who's come and continuously spoken about how this is somehow showing of the government not necessarily being completely transparent, which is odd to me because everything that is being done has been done in open session, even the disagreements have been done openly. It's contradictory. You can't have it both ways. These criteria are fine. Given that the previous one, I guess the RFP hadn't come to us when it had gone out. as council members who serve this community, we have an obligation to say, well, you know, from our experience and what we've heard on the ground and what we've observed, we think these are criteria that deserve more weight and other criteria deserve less weight, which is, I don't think, if the elimination of or the minimizing of the criteria of social media advertising impacts the outcome for this next one, I don't think that is a sign of somehow there being a fix. It's just a reflection of council giving a policy direction and insight that we're hoping staff will listen to. Now, I don't know if the process can be done differently, where before the RFP goes out, they interview all the council members, if that's a violation of the Brown Act or not. But I would like us to at least, if we're elected by the public, to sit here and make decisions and do what we believe is best for the community, then there has to be some value given to our opinions and input as well. So, you know, certainly this situation hasn't gone in the most ideal way, but absent of, I don't know how we can make that. We don't have time machines to be able to go back in time. This is the best way to fix this. What was it? Best, most, whatever the semantics were that we were just having a discussion over. So this is as best as we can get. We do the best we can until we know better, and once we know better, we try to do better. So I'll support it.
Mr. Brotman, did you want to follow up on your
Yeah,
proposal or your thoughts? And then
yeah.
we'll go to,
I mean,
Ms.
in a
Asatari.
nutshell, what I was saying is I thought there was too much weight given to just having been there, just kind of duration, longevity, and not enough to kind of quality factors, you know, what kind of awards, what kind of references, or the quality of that experience. That was one thing that I mentioned, and I would not be comfortable with going forward with this RFP with this weighting. I would want to see something different. The other thing I mentioned was I thought there should be more consideration to the financial aspect of this, looking at the operational efficiency of the operator, and from that, how much benefit can go back to the community, either in terms of revenues to the city or in terms of free or, you know, more free time or lower rates for paid play. Those were basically my comments. So I would like to, I'm not prepared at this moment to accept the proposal as is. I would like to see some revision to it.
Councilmember Asaturian.
I have 2 points on this. One is the first one. I've said this time and again for procurement opportunities in general, but the weight that's been given to operating a concession or doing any work with a public agency, our current system does not allow for what I think a broader opportunity for businesses to participate. And just because someone has done work with a public agency or has not done it in the past does not mean that they're unable to do it or do it the best that we can get. And so I think for me, the 15% for having worked for or operating a concession for a public agency is a very unfair, and you're basically creating an additional hurdle for someone that may be able to provide better services. Just because they haven't had experience working with government doesn't mean that they might have done something even bigger than working with a government agency before. So the 15% for me, I think off the bat is an issue. The second part is affordability. I would want to see more points given for both the public free of charge as well as the affordability of the rates that they're charging. I think it's been clear that people want to use them. I know there were some comments made during our City Hall in Your Neighborhood about folks being able to use the courts for free a long while ago, and I may have been one of those individuals, so I just want to make sure that we're taking those 2 things into consideration. And I'm okay with the rest, but for me, those two adjustments I'd like to see.
Okay.
Question,
Mr. Garbetti?
clarification, because I asked this at our briefing, the panelists, would they have these percentages in front of them? Because I asked if they have this, they're going to see this 15, 10, or whatever the numbers are. And I was told, no, they won't see those numbers.
Councilmember Garpetian, this is obviously an open public meeting,
Yeah,
and
I
so
know,
the percentage weights are not confidential, but the evaluators will be asked to rank each of the proposers on that 0 to 3 scale, potentially at the council's direction with a qualifier that best means very well qualified or exceptionally well qualified.
So they have the opportunity to weigh, I don't know, something that's 5%, let's say business management experience. They can weigh that even more and give it a 3 instead of a 1 because they feel that that's more important than, I don't know, previous development and implementation of tennis or other things.
So each criterion would be scored individually. You could have 3s in every category or 1s in every
So
category.
that these numbers are, we put here to just have 100% basically. But
That is correct.
They have the ability to vote otherwise. They don't have to weigh the way it's
They're not doing the weighing. Again, they're scoring each category on a 0 to 3 basis. And then the weighing calculation will be done by staff after they've scored each category.
So that's what I'm saying. Some have 5%, some have 15%. It doesn't mean that they're going to score it based on these numbers. They're going to score it based on their interview and their evaluation of the applications.
If I understand the question correctly, yes. And then the weights will be applied after the fact, as the city attorney said, reflective of the council's direction.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Brotman?
in the interest of possibly seeing if we could get a decision on this today, maybe I'll just throw out
Sure.
a suggestion.
Sure.
What if we take that 15% in the first category, take 10% off, make that 5%, and put that 10% into a couple other categories such as the affordable hourly rates, public free of charge, and perhaps somewhere in there, I don't know.
If you're going to do it by 5% chunks,
Yeah, that might be a
that'll give
lot.
us 2 chunks. So
Well,
you're
I'm
saying,
yeah, and it doesn't, I mean, we can split, we can have 2%, 3%. I'm just saying, let's whack off 10% from that top,
And then split
and let's
that
try
5
to
into
figure out where to put that 10%. Maybe we can get to a consensus here and
I mean,
now.
I'd be fine with that if that was the case, and as long as it's put towards like that affordability and the programming,
Put it into affordability, put it in, you know,
affordable
open
rates.
play, you're saying reapportion to open play, affordable hour rates, and what's your third?
Or it can just be into 2.
Or just to those 2?
yeah, take 10% off, put 5% each
can I-
in those 2 categories.
Can I
Open play,
recommend-
let me, open play and affordable hourly rates? I don't know. Then those are kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with something that we can live with.
Okay, Councilmember Asaturian.
May I recommend that some of those points go to the tennis camps, tournaments, and special events or programs? I always speak to special events and programs and tournaments are not just good for those that are participating, but if you have those, then you have individuals visiting your city. And that also translates to them visiting your restaurants and eating at your restaurants and drinking at your coffee shops potentially. So
Well,
wanna propose-
if you were to take 10% off of what the first category was, or the first line item on that, and attribute 5% to court rentals at affordable rates, and then take the remaining 5 and split it between tennis camps and integrated programs, making each of those 5, then, no, you would have like 3 to that and 2 to that, which would be 5. And then it would be 15% for court rental and public affordable hourly rates. And then tennis camps would be 5% because you would add 3% to that, and then you'd take the last 2% and add it to integrated programs and services and accommodate persons with disabilities 5%.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, that jumped over your open play by the public.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Okay, that's already at 15%.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I didn't want to
Okay,
make that.
so can you restate what the first move is to remove the first criteria from 15 to 5. Court rentals would go to what percent now? From 10%
I heard 15.
to 15.
15%.
Yeah.
Tennis tournaments would go to 5%.
Integrated
and
programs.
Integrated programs would go to 5%.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think we have a formula there.
All right.
Yeah.
Did everyone get that? Did you get
I
that?
don't think everyone
Yes,
or
we do.
anyone will be happy no matter what we do, but at least this will get us across the goal line.
We get it done. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a proposal. Is someone ready to move that?
I'll move it.
Okay, second, or,
Okay, let's take roll call with the amended scoring sheet that we've just stated.
Councilmembers Asudarian,
Yes.
Brotman,
yes.
Garabedian,
Yes.
Sakian,
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brotman, for that, and colleagues for that. Next item, please.
Next item, Management Services, Montrose Shopping Park Business Improvement District Annual Work Plan, Budget for Calendar Year 2026. Motion to accept Montrose Shopping Park Association 2026 Budget and Work Plan.
Mr. Golanian.
Yes, Mayor Najarian, Member City Council, this is an annual process that we go through where the Montrose Shopping Park Association submits its proposed budget for the upcoming year. That includes marketing strategies and allocation of funds for the Business Improvement District. And the current management agreement with the city and MSPA expires the end of December 31st, 2028. With that, I'm going to invite Mr. Dawson to make the presentation for your consideration. The newly appointed president of the MSPA, Ms. Garcia, is also available.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor Najarian, City Council members, city staff. Dale Dawson, Business Administrator and Events Coordinator for the Montrose Shopping Park, and you all know Gigi Garcia is our board president this year. So we're happy to be here and take you through the plan, answer any questions you might have, or take care of any concerns on your mind. The page 1 reiterates what we use to drive foot traffic, which is so important in a shopping district into the town, is with our iconic events, and they've been very, very successful and continue to be over the years. You can see how long they have been in place. Some of them, the wine walks, which everybody loves, we're on 8 years with those, 14 years with Kids and Critters, 24 years with the car show, 42 years with arts and crafts. So these are the events that keep people coming back to the shopping park again and again. Then on page 2, we wanted to share some of our concerns about what we want to do in terms of beautification of the shopping park, which is an ongoing concern, physical appearance, what we can do in terms of like power washing and such as that has been increased, and that's ongoing, and maintenance of the Vietnam War Memorial. What we'd like to see is some help from the City of Glendale in terms of replacing our trash receptacles, which just are not doing the job any longer. We have a lot more food service businesses in town, and it becomes a bit overwhelming. So we want to look at that with you. We also want to look at taking the 3-yard receptacles, the dumpsters in lot 7, and hopefully walling them in so that they're a little more, concise, and we get a lot of people that kind of, if they see it, inviting drop-offs, we get a lot of that. It's not a good thing. It's kind of like a magnet, so we'd like to make that a little more tightened up. And then I think our biggest concern, one of our biggest concerns anyway, is the safety of our pedestrians with our crosswalks. We have, I believe, 17 crosswalks in the shopping park. And I tell you, no matter how they're laid out, if you don't make eye contact with oncoming traffic, you're taking your life in your hands. We've actually had a young child actually hit at one point in a crosswalk area. So we're asking the city with help to improve those with lighting, some kind of signaling that is more apparent than what we have now, perhaps taking down some of the stucco walls that are impeding visibility and such as that. So those are the projects that are on our heart for the moment. And Gigi, I'm sure you have some that you'd like to speak to as well.
Sure. I just want to jump in and talk about the safety elements here. The crosswalks, and have talked to Councilmember Brotman too. He came to one of our meetings and he has seen for himself, as I'm sure many of you have when you've come to our fine little section of town, that the red is totally worn off in all 17 crosswalks, including the major one, which is Ocean View in Honolulu. The white might have been repainted, but the red is totally worn off. Again, like Dale was saying, there's no like lighting or flashing lights. We only have that at one crosswalk area. And those are solar powered. And so once the car approaches, the stop sign lights up. But if we could get a few more throughout, or maybe get, where it lights up, where the white sections are on either side of the red, that would be quite helpful. There's also these funky little walls, and I don't know, they've been there for years, that are on either side of the crosswalk that can block, like if a child was standing there, you would never see them. And the trees, because we have such mature trees, when you're walking up, that could block your sight view too as oncoming traffic is coming. So I think the walls are the main priority, because a lot of them are crumbling also. The stucco's coming off and they're well worn out, but definitely our concern is the sight lines there. Other things going on, I think we're finally getting our streetlights painted, which is exciting. That's going to be happening at the end of January. So we'll have fresh new green paint on those. And so thank you for that, City of Glendale. And they're also going to start our circular benches, the artwork starting this spring on those. So again, thank you for that. A couple of the board members and some of our merchants and patrons have mentioned that we have like a dry area of plug-in stations for electric cars. We only have like one down on Broadview, and I think the rest are like at Vaughn's. There is none in the shopping park area. And I know at one point we had discussed to put solar panels and plug-ins at one of our parking lots, and they came and did a presentation. And so if, council is up for that, we'd like to revisit that at some point. We'd love to have solar panels and covered parking and, maybe a few extra plug-in for our electric vehicles. Even one of our independent contractors who works the farmer's market has to go and wait to plug in her car to be able to get home, because she lives up in Pine. And there's only one, so she has to make sure that vehicle is gone by the time she gets down there. And that's the only one besides the Vaughn's parking lot. Other things that are concerning are the e-bike safety. I saw that you guys had a presentation at the Fremont City Council. Dom is working on bringing that to our meeting, so we'd love to hear about that. That's a big concern, because when the kids are out of school, we have a lot of them whizzing by on their bikes on the sidewalks, and the skateboarding and the scooters and such. So Dom's working on that to get that presentation to our board meeting. And let's see, what else do I have here? That's about it. There's a couple of new things we're working on. We're doing new directories this year. We want to get all new directories for the shopping park. Ours are well-worn, and so that's in our current budget. We would love to do more art, like do some kind of wall art or murals. And we're in the process of researching that and putting a beautification committee together. And then one new thing that we've been researching is possibly our harvest market manager and Maureen, one of our board members, have brought up wanting to do a pomegranate festival. And so Dom's getting us in touch with some of the Armenian societies and clubs and stuff, so maybe we can partner and do something like that and expand our farmers market like during harvest season in October. So those are the biggies. You guys are welcome to come to any of our board meetings, first Thursday of the month, 8:15. And I think Artie's coming to the next one, so please come. Any questions?
Councilmember Asaturian.
I'm going to start off by saying a huge thank you. It makes my heart very happy every time I'm up there, and the caliber of events, as well as the number of people that actually show up, is absolutely incredible. So I think, and I've seen that kind of increase year by year. I feel like Montrose and that whole area has become a destination, especially for Oktoberfest and all of that. And so just want to say thank you for both organizing those and doing it all on a volunteer basis, but really keeping the spirit of each season alive, and the support that you're providing to the small businesses there. I've had some opportunities to visit up there, and sometimes I'd like to take a stroll and just go in and meet the small business owners. I know that there's quite a few new ones that have come in. One of the issues that were kind of raised, and not issue as in a bad thing, but hoping that we can find a better way to help support them, is those that have language barriers. And I think particularly some that have immigrated to the United States recently that don't know what systems they can use, including the shopping association. And so I don't know what the outreach looks like when a new business is coming in, but I'm happy to help coordinate with you guys as well on this. But they also tap into a community that might not be following platforms that are only in English. And so how we help get the word out to the broader community. I can say that, since the displacement of Artsakhdis from Artsakh, we have thousands of them that have found home in Glendale. And I know that they, for example, operate in their own kind of community and circles, and helping get the word out to them would require using different mediums than we usually use. And so the other part was me wanting to inquire about the independent contract services that's listed on here. I just want to know what, because there's no details on that, with the 43,000.
That is a budget line that's been in the budget for many, many years, and what it does is it covers the independent contractors whose services cross over a number of activities, versus, let's say, the independent contractors at the harvest market, the market manager, the assistant manager, the setup crew. They're targeted to that one event. The independent contractors, of which I am one, business administrator, events coordinator, filming liaison, and communications administrator. It's basically two people, myself and Steve Pierce, because we cross over so many other areas. So that's what the funding is for that.
Okay. And then I would want to have a follow-up question to staff on the EV chargers, because I know that item's going to be coming in a couple of weeks, but speaking to, I guess, a previous project, was that killed or just delayed or part of a larger?
Which part?
About a presentation that was made about.
If I may, Councilmember Asadrian, installation of EV chargers and the cover that houses EV charging cells for charging would trigger a significant amount of capital improvement on that parking lot that currently doesn't meet code. So it's not as simple as installing some chargers and you can plug it in. So it's something that we need to budget for, and it's a significant cost that we currently don't have the funds for.
Okay, and then the EV charging item that's coming, I think in a couple of weeks. Right?
That's for within the public right-of-way.
Okay.
Most of those locations will be at the curb on the streets.
Okay, so maybe when that item comes, maybe we can have a conversation about making sure Montrose also gets some. I think
Correct.
The previous conversations on that have been really how do we make sure people in multifamilies are able to have these services on curbside. But I think maybe we can inform you when that item's coming, and you can also come speak to that.
That'd be great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again for everything. Oh, and Glendale Arts had been saying how happy they were to connect with you. They were also hoping that they can put together some sort of art festival. I think you guys are talking about it. And so I'm really excited about that. So however we can be helpful with that, please let us know.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Comments? Mr. Garbett?
Yes, very, very briefly, I want to thank you as well. This is a well-run organization, if you will. I frequently visit Montrose, my kids as well. I attend the meetings. Sometimes it's very tense, but it's very efficient. And this P&L, if you will, is a testament to how well this organization is being run. As far as the EV chargers go, the ones that we had, are we talking about the ones that have this big cover and you have like solar panels on top? And we have one at Babe Herman parking lot, right? Does it work well? Because we tried it a few times and it's not, I don't know if it has a battery in it or it doesn't have a battery in it, because if it's only solar panel, I don't know how fast it can charge, but the ones that are curbside, I think they will be a lot more efficient. And how much infrastructure do we need to install? How many, EV chargers, and how fast do they charge? Something that you have to look into. But the ones that it's only with solar panels, they're not that efficient. I know that for sure. So if you're doing it, let's do something meaningful so it will serve the community. That's all. We love Montrose, and every opportunity we get, we shop and walk and use it. Thank you.
I have a couple comments. I've been spending a lot of time in Montrose, and although people think it's cool to call me out and speculate as to who I'm talking to or what I'm doing, maybe my colleagues have that experience as well. I don't want to say it's like a celebrity sighting, but it's like a sighting. Let's just leave it at that.
We're that small.
So I have several times had some difficult experiences at those crosswalks when I'm going about 10 miles an hour, super slow, at night, very dark, a pedestrian coming out of the shadows, perhaps where those walls are that you're talking about, all of a sudden, just without pause, just boom, right in front. And thank goodness I'm going 10 miles an hour, but I'd like to see what we can do, if we can get some more ideas from you. That red that you're referring to is like a faux brick, right? We intended it to be.
It's painted on.
So we've got some, I don't know if our snazzy crosswalk design studio would be accepted in Montrose.
No, we welcome the art. We'd love to see that art. I'm not sure what the correct name that you all call it, but the art of the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Creative crosswalk.
Yeah, creative crosswalk, because we've even mentioned it to Councilmember Brotman before, that we would welcome that we'd love it at the intersection of Ocean View and Honolulu,
That would be great.
or even Verdugo in Honolulu.
As long as it's not a four-way diagonal crossing.
No, thank you.
All right, I'm just kidding. The other comment I have is, have we outlawed garbage bags inside the trash receptacles?
That's kind of gone back and forth. We did not have liners for a while. I feel like, are they back? They're back, aren't they? We saw them for a few
We've gone back and forth on
weeks.
this a lot of times, and the problem is the people that are going to pick it up, they'll pick up the liner, but when we had trash bags, they would drag the trash bags down the street, and they would leak all over the sidewalk. So we haven't found a really good solution. We still believe that our receptacles are desperately in need of updating or replacing.
Okay.
They were inherited from another area of the city years and years ago, and they've really outlived their usefulness in terms of just operation and maintenance.
They're very deceptive, Mayor. They're this big around, but the container inside that the trash trucks pick up and dump is only this big inside.
And they leak, because if you
Well, they
look
do leak
around
for
them,
sure.
there's all sorts of stains. And I was having a coffee the other day at Coffee Bean, and I had a little bit left in my cup, and I went and I dropped it, and it went straight down, and then a stream of coffee went straight into my face, believe it or not. Maybe it was bad luck, but maybe it was karma. But let's think about what we can do to keep that,
Yeah.
looking cleaner and more
Tidy.
sanitary for that. The other thing is, and I said I was going to stay off social media, but darn it, it's like an addiction. So someone out there is describing Montrose as an elite shopping area. Has anyone seen that? Elite. And if you want to see an elite shopping area, not in a bad way, but in a good way, come to Montrose. So I don't know if you are aware of that. I'm not sure if you're happy about that, but at least one, I don't even want to say influencer, one poster is describing, I mean, it's generally a complimentary piece on Glendale. And if you go to Montrose, wait till you see this elite shopping center.
Interesting.
Shopping
That's
park.
not the
So-
language our social media director uses. That's my wife, I would know.
Okay,
And,
anyway, it's out there.
Well, there are influencers that adopt the shopping park under their own name, but what they're really promoting is themselves and real estate and such as that. It's not us.
Yeah, anyway, so there's that. That's a good thing. It's appreciated as obviously, elite is a good term.
Yeah, but we don't want to keep people out either, that they feel like we want to keep them comfortable.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's why
That's
I'm
good to
bringing
know.
it to your attention.
Not a word we
at
would
this
use.
point. Other comments from my colleagues? Mr. Brotman?
Yeah, I have a question or two. Just looking at the budget here, what's going on with the assessments? I see you budgeted for 180,000 and you're down 15,000. Are folks not paying, or?
We had a lot of late payments this year, and this particular budget was prepared for you in December before our friends in the finance department and in the assistant attorney office were able to bring a lot of them into the fold. So we actually ended the year pretty much on budget, if not over budget. So if I were to give you the updated presentation that I gave to our board for the January meeting, a lot of these figures came way up.
Oh,
But there are always the usual suspects who just either ignore letters from the city attorney's office and just think if they fly under the radar, they can stay there. But your people are really good at getting them back into the fold. We've only got a handful now that are kind of dragging their feet.
Okay, so that $165,000 number, it'll end up back closer to what you
I think
budgeted.
it's up around 184, something like that.
Okay. But then you have it going down next year. Is that because of, I mean, not a lot, but you're budgeting a slightly lower? I guess this gets to another question, like how are we doing up there with vacancies, business turnover? What can you say about that?
We've had vacancies being filled on a regular basis. We have one young lady and her team that came to our last board meeting, and they're going to take over the space that was vacated by Body Lounge LA, which was a fairly large unit down at Market Street, and it's coming back as what's it called? House of Blend, Haus, a blend. So we're not having difficulty finding tenants. What we're having is difficulty with building owners that say they're going to open something and then don't and leave it vacant for years, and that's been a problem. But in terms of tenancies that can be, we've also had a few permit problems with people converting from retail to food service, and the length of time it gets to have the permit granted to them so they can actually open up. I know the Atavola Cheese Shop has gone through that. I don't know where they are today. They may not be able to afford to open at this point. My next door neighbor, C'est La Vie, is still waiting for her permit to open. So some of it is permit oriented in terms of actually getting the doors open, but the vacancies we're most concerned about are those building owners or building lessors that are not using their space and not moving on it. And we're wondering if there's something that can be done with regard to that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. I think there are two in particular, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We're talking about two.
And the same
owner.
Same offender, yeah.
Same owner.
And
yeah.
I mean, I know we've talked about like a non-occupancy tax, or like if they can be, get it ticketed, or,
It's tough.
but I know it's
yeah.
very tough, and it's and there still are merchants too, so it's difficult for us. We know it's a difficult process, but you are losing tax dollars, the city, or us, we are losing tax money by them not being open. It hurts the businesses around them, because sometimes it's a big space and it looks like, oh, well, nothing's past that because it looks, deserted right there. Or so it is a problem. It's not being a very good neighbor, especially, because a lot of the other merchants, we all rely on each other. I mean, my customer might go eat at a restaurant after, a restaurateur comes shopping at my store. So,
Yeah, I wonder if, I'm sure this is,
It's on
these
the agenda
discussions
tonight.
of, what? Oh, yeah, but okay.
what?
It's bringing a ballot measure for a tax to address two storefronts is probably not the best way to go. But I think,
We don't know. Does it happen throughout the city? I don't know. Is it just us?
Mr. Brotman, I would argue that happens across the city, and all you have to do is look at a brand. I think we've had this discussion before, and I think that's why it's on the agenda tonight, but.
okay, well, I've asked and told not, but if it's a different situation than what I was told, I'll think about it differently. But based on what I was told, it seemed like it's a very isolated situation. But separate from that, has our business development team really kind of spoken to these folks and understand, like, what's the strategic rationale for leaving these vacant? These are valuable properties. I just don't understand what the thinking is. I'd like to know, and if there's anything else we can do to, get over whatever objection there is to activating those. I think that is something we want always. So I would just say that, and I'll leave the rest. All the other things you raised, those crumbling stucco walls, I know we've discussed those. I thought that there was a plan. I thought they were being taken out. I just don't know what the timeline is. We have discussed the crosswalks. I understand that issue. And the good thing, if we can get creative crosswalks considered, it's something we can fund out of our arts and culture budget, which means it's not a general fund item, which gives us a lot more flexibility there.
Give us all the creative crosswalks then.
And then I know the other things, the dumpster, I know I raised a long time ago after talking to Andre about that, because it's right behind his shop. So I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, people like dumping there.
Yeah. And then the trash cans, it's an old ongoing issue with not an obvious solution. So anyway, but thank you for being consistent in the things you bring to us. It's nice that it's the same stuff. It's not like you're coming up with new stuff all the time.
No.
So we can work on things that way.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kasakian.
Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank all the merchants and everyone who devotes their time voluntarily to helping make sure that it is a elite shopping destination, but also one of the more charming parts of our city. And coming up there, I still do my coffees every Friday. Last Friday I was out of town, and so I wasn't able to, but I've noticed a lot of things you've mentioned. I want to stress this to staff. I cannot wait for those light posts to be painted. They just need to be painted. I don't know why it takes so long. Everything, it feels here in our government, moves at a snail's pace, and I think it'll look much better once it is painted. All the light posts, these really iconic old light posts that we have. So I'm looking forward to that. You said that the city has told you that to have it expected to be painted by when? To start
I think it's the end of the month.
I think they're starting this week.
Okay.
The all-knowing.
Good afternoon, Councilman. The painting, actually, the prep has started as of yesterday and will be completed in March.
Sure. Whatever the lower part of those light posts is painted with has to be dog urine proof. I will tell you that. just seeing, sitting there at the coffee shop during my office hours, it seems to be a favorite pastime of the pooches that walk by. In addition to that, we do have to figure out what to do with the trash cans. The trash can situation has become unseemly. It's especially as the weather gets warmer and some of our more, one of my favorite ice cream and yogurt shops, frozen yogurt shops, it starts becoming the mountain like Everest of just cups, and the trash cans there are not keeping up with it. And also it looks a little, I mean, there's a corner, right, just a corner outside of the coffee shop. No, Mr. Najarian, Mayor Najarian was talking about. There's 2 sets of trash cans. It's like identical ones, just feet apart. I think there's got to be a better way for us to figure it out. Let's look at what other cities have done and replicate it. Speaking of that corner, the Vietnam War Memorial was damaged. I don't know if we've yet figured out how, but hopefully staff is aware of that and they're repairing that damaged wall. Certainly before any major commemorations that we have coming up. Again, events are fantastic. You know, as Councilmember Asatrian noted and others, really is amazing how many events take place up there. And what's really special is I believe Montrose is probably the last, well, we still have, I think, Barnes & Noble, but it's one of the last places we have bookstores. It feels like anywhere besides, you know, the Barnes & Noble and Vroman's, and you have 2.
2 of them.
You know, wish everyone luck. We will do everything we can to support your asks. I support everything that you've brought up, including the enclosure for the trash bins, which, whatever the obstacles are, here's what I will tell staff. If there's something that's an obstacle that our city rules, ordinances, something isn't allowing us to do something that clearly the shopping park wants, the community wants, then staff has to tell us these are the obstacles. Council has to take action to free up our hands to work with the shopping park to do what you want to have done. So again, please keep us informed. We love coming up there and visiting, and we will continue to do so. Those are all my remarks. I'm happy to move forward with the items listed.
Approval?
I will move approval.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Asatrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Garabedian,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Mayor Najarian.
One last thing I did want to mention, I won't have to change our vote, but during office hours, I know one of the items that has come up is people's concerns with what's happening with Glendale Community College's plans up in
Right.
Montrose.
Yes.
And let's be on the record for anyone watching at home, because it is a community college, it is subject to totally different set of rules than anything that city does not have approvals over what goes on there. So, but I've listened to the folks who've come by, I've heard them, and I encourage the shopping park to continue working with the college as best you can. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our business for the special meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next up is, we ready? We're ready. Okay. Good afternoon. I call to order the meeting of the Glendale City Council for January 27th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Asatrian,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Garabedian,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Mayor Najarian.
Here. Will you please read the closed session items?
A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Akopians versus City of Glendale, LAFC, case number 23-GDCV-00382. B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Artunian versus Glendale, City of Glendale, et al., LASC, case number 24-NNCV-00152. And C, public employee performance evaluation, city manager.
Mr. City Attorney, do you anticipate reporting out?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we anticipate reporting on items 1A and 1B.
Thank you. We'll recess the closed session.